Madam President Valtonen, I would love to start this interview with your assessment on the latest political crisis in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Let me ask you openly, did Milorad Dodik jeopardize peace in this country?
Thank you so much for having me for this interview. First of all, it's wonderful to be here in Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Me as a Finnish foreign minister, but especially as the chair in office for the OSCE, we are there to support the constitution of this country, and which essentially secures the democratic future of Bosnia and Herzegovina and empowers the people to make their choices, to make choices regarding their own fate and future. And this is what essentially, a free and open society is all about. And the OSCE and its principles are protecting those. We do see a very worrying scenario now for this country. And we hope that the current challenge can be managed with local powers.
People are afraid. We can hear them talking about the possibility of new conflict. And the question is, what can your organization do, or maybe is already doing, in preserving peace and stability here?
The OSCE is very much about the principles, and our missions work tirelessly with the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina to solve local issues and local problems. At the same time, of course, those principles are there to safeguard the constitution. And the constitutional order in this country essentially built on the Dayton Peace Agreement, which is so important for peace, and really is something that people deserve to be able to plan their future on, and also helps companies, businesses to establish themselves, that, there's stability, there's peace. And any power which looks to endanger this stable peace process for their personal benefit or whichever reason is there to jeopardize this. And I'm essentially saying that, the principles are by the side of the people here.
But does your organization maybe coordinate some activities with NATO or EUFOR in that regard?
We work closely together with the European Union, because we do see the will of the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina to one day, and hopefully not too long in the future, to be able to join the European Union. And clearly the European Union, which has built itself on the values of not just peace but democracy, rule of law, a transparent market economy, we are very interested also from that angle in the future and fate of the Western Balkans, and therefore we are very committed to the enlargement process, which has to be merit-based in order to really, also encourage those reforms in the specific countries to open up such an, open and European democratic future for the people. Now, what comes to this current situation, yes, EUFOR-a is here, and we are there to secure, essentially, also on a daily basis, the security. But what this is all about is for the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina to really take power into their own hands in that regard, that they do know that the constitution is on their side.
Yeah, talking about that, after state prosecutor issued arrest warrant for basically 3 top Bosnian Serb officials, including Milorad Dodik, of course, the main question now is who is going to arrest them without provoking an armed conflict between police agencies, especially after we could hear from Minister of Interior of Republic of Srpska that police in that entity will not hesitate in using weapons in order to protect him. How dangerous could this be?
We are worried about this situation, which could easily, knowing not just the history of this country, but knowing the history of humankind, easily escalate into really a serious security situation. And therefore, that's why I keep saying that we are here to empower the institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina, working based on the constitution, to manage this issue locally.
Talking about empowering institutions, should European peacekeeping forces, EUFOR, assist domestic institutions in arresting Dodik?
Let's put it this way: this really both the initiative and if there was any implementation of the arrest warrant, the decision needs to lie with the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and to be so loud and clear also about this. The OSCE and the EU, including the EUFOR, are here at the invitation of the people and the constitution of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And it's extremely important that we really work based on our mandate and are not crossing the line because, well, essentially this is about the free will of the people of this country. But we are worried about any escalation of violence or impediment to the security and the peace of the local people. And we just so hope that it doesn't happen. But at the same time, of course, the institutions need to be protecting the constitutional order of this country.
Russia, Hungary, Serbia issued statements of support for Dodik, accusing state-level institutions of political witch hunt. Basically, half of the country is pro-Russian influenced, and other half heavily relies on Western support. My final question for you will be, do you think that Western allies, including your organization as well, are doing enough to help country to fight that harmful pro-Russian influence?
Well, you see, Western institutions and surely the OSCE and also the European Union are based on the thinking that people should have the right to decide on their own destiny, on their own future. That is what democracy, the rule of law in countries, open societies which are inclusive to each and every individual, independent of their background, their religion, everything, what it's all about. And we do see, and we do know, that the Russian society is built on values which are completely the opposite, more or less. And unfortunately, the Russian people would also deserve to live in a free democracy, which they unfortunately haven't. Probably ever, really, but especially not in the past 20 years. And after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there perhaps was a short time frame that people hoped that there might be something. But of course, and the same applies to Bosnia and Herzegovina. To be an empowered person, to be able to really also, demand such freedoms. Democracies are really fragile, right? So you would have to also learn to become a democratic citizen, and we are assisting in that. And it never happens, just overnight. It's a process, and a democracy is always a process. But it's at the same time, while it's so open, it is prone for outside powers to be taken advantage of. And this is just something which, because I trust in the, not just the free will of people, but the people in this country to be able to see what is wrong, what is right, and to decide on their behalf what they want to see for the future of this country. And I'm so certain that they will realize that anything that Russia has in mind is probably more these spheres of influence thinking rather than giving more freedoms and at the same time also prosperity to the people. Because at the end of the day, getting rid of corruption, opening up for transparent markets, at the same time building on the democratic institutions in this country, that would also lead to a much brighter future where probably people who have temporarily perhaps left the country would like to come back, invest in their businesses, invest in their future. It's a beautiful country.
Madam President, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.